Hey everyone, welcome to the KetonExpress Summit. Today we're here with Lynn Terry from Traveling Low Carb, and I'm going to give her a chance to say hi here in a second, but I just want to let you know a little bit about her. She's also known as the Low Carb Traveler, and you can find her with that handle. She's been living a low carb lifestyle for almost 7 years now, and she hosts an amazing community for online where she shares tips and tricks for staying on track with a busy lifestyle and through all of life's ups and downs. Her audience loves her most for her simple approach to the ketogenic diet and her nonstop inspiration and motivation. So welcome, Lynn. So glad to have you today.
Thank you so much, Jill. And hi, everybody. I'm so glad you joined in. This is a really exciting summit. I'm excited to be a part of it and also to learn from everyone else that's a part of it.
Yeah, well, thank you. Well, so tell us about your keto journey or your low carb journey. How did you come to a low carb diet, and what's it been like for you?
I don't think I can use that word here. It's been, I'll say in the end, from where I am now, I will say it's the best thing I've ever done for myself. It's been an absolutely amazing journey of not just weight loss, but self-discovery, self-growth, positive change, like from where I'm sitting now. But I've been at this for almost 7 years, and to say that it was easy and not challenging would be a lie. And so it was, any kind of big major life change is tough. We struggle with it. That's normal. That's natural. There's things like, motivation and commitment and those things go strong and then they don't,
Absolutely.
And stuff like that. So then there's life circumstances and events that you can't foresee coming. You get all powered up and let's just say, for example, you decide I'm going to become a runner and I'm going to run a full marathon and that's my big goal in life. And then all of a sudden you injure your knee, things like happen. And so in my own journey, a lot of things have happened over the last 6 or 7 years. Unexpected hysterectomy.
Okay.
That was completely out of the blue, emergency surgery that did not go well. So there was hormone therapy, there was, medications, there was, I got in the best shape of my life last year. Then I got tanked. I got sick for 3.5 months, went on multiple antibiotics that threw me out of ketosis, went on steroids twice, which we all know how that affects.
Yeah.
And so kind of starting over with, getting back, out there, getting back into strength building and stuff like that. And so there's just a lot of loss and death and grief and, empty nest syndrome. My children both left home during that same period of time. And so to say my journey was an easy one, or that it was just like, oh, I'm going to start low carb and then everything was smooth sailing, is not the case for me. And I don't think it's the case for anyone.
Yeah. Life's just, we look at things from like one perspective and we get this like tunnel vision on a goal and we forget that, okay, there's a lot of things that are going to come into play. So when we make those commitments, it's hard to kind of hold ourselves to it, isn't it?
Yes, it is. But through all of that is how I got where I am today in the mindset space, not just, the physical transformation that I've made, but the mental transformation.
Yeah.
And because all of those things happened to me along the way, unexpectedly, it's given me a position from which to really help other people through those types of circumstances, prepare them for them, help them through them, give them, the tools and kind of the mindset tricks that we need in order to succeed through that. And I will say again that from this side of it, it's the best thing I've ever done for myself. It's been an amazing journey. The journey itself was, kind of like many of my adventurous hikes. It was adventurous. It was tough. There were a lot of, sweating. There was a lot of moments of, fear or what the heck am I doing or whatever. So,
and so what you've created is amazing. It's a support community for people who are trying to do this and trying to simplify it. And you're kind of helping to simplify this process. It doesn't have to be complicated. So I love that about what you're doing.
Well, it's interesting to me how complicated it can get, and there are so many different like definitions of this or definitions of that, or ways that people tend to go about it or do it. And in my opinion, overcomplicate it, which, I personally, if someone had told me, all of these things in the beginning before I got started, I never would have gotten started. And so my big motto is keep it simple to start, because it's a huge, lifestyle transition. And for me personally, the reason I chose to go low carb was because I didn't have to change my lifestyle. I didn't have to start doing meal prep. I didn't have to start cooking. I didn't have to stop traveling. I could still live my life as it is now without making any major changes, and simply change what I eat, not where I eat, how I eat, when I eat, or any of those other things, just what I eat. And so for me, the keeping it simple was the thing that drew me in and made it doable for me. And so I really think that you have to practice a lot of self-love, self-forgiveness, go easy on yourself. But at the same time, it's not something you can play with. There's science behind a ketogenic diet, very well documented science, very successful way of eating as far as in terms not just of weight loss, but health benefits. But it's not something you want to like dabble in. And so it's not like, let's say, for example, a low calorie diet, where if you bomb it, you can go burn off the calories. You can't burn off carbs, and it's a matter of, the scientific process of putting your body in a state of ketosis and
keep a little bit more exact, isn't it? Yeah.
So it does take more of a commitment, in my opinion, than other diets for weight loss specifically, or diets for health purposes.
Yeah.
Because you cycle off and on. Let's say, for example, if you are diabetic or have heart problems or chronic inflammation, chronic migraines, and that's why you decide to go keto, cycling off and on jerks your body in and out of ketosis, which is, worse, I think. So
yeah. Okay. Very interesting. So I love that perspective. And we're going to talk more about, you kind of talked about how you don't cook and you wanted to simplify it. You wanted to eat the same places, just choose different things. We're going to talk about that more in a minute for our audience, because I think a lot of times we do get into this, okay, I have to learn a whole new way to cook, and I have to choose like a whole different way of planning my meals. And you're saying you didn't do any of that. So that's fascinating. Okay, we were going to talk about weight loss motivation too. So how do you make a low carb ketogenic diet a lifestyle and then stick to it? What's the motivation? How do you do that?
Well, motivation, that's a tough one. They don't sell it at Walmart.
Nope.
You can't
get it for free.
That's the biggest struggle I hear from people. I hear it all the time. They're like, if I could just get motivated, or gosh, I wish I had your motivation. No, if you're asking, how can I get motivated to start or to restart, which is really tough for someone who's seen success on a ketogenic low carb diet and then kind of, fallen off and gone back to their old ways, getting started sometimes is really hard. And so I think if you're asking yourself or saying to yourself, I'm not motivated, or how do I get motivated? You're asking yourself the wrong question, period. Yeah. Because people think that you have to be motivated in order to start something new, like let's say to start a new workout regimen, or to start a new diet, or whatever, or that you have to either be motivated or get motivated first. That is not the case. That is not actually true. Nobody gets motivated first. So discovered, yes, it is interesting, because I discovered this myself through this whole mind unraveling journey that I've been on, is that motivation is a result of commitment. So you don't get motivated and then get started. You commit to it. And once you are committed and you are actually taking action and you're doing something toward a goal, you start to see results, or you start to feel results. That's when the motivation kicks in. So if you're waiting for your motivation, it's not going to come on its own. It's not going to come like drop in your lap like magic, or anything like that. It is a result of commitment. So it's when you get in your head, I'm sick of feeling this way, or I must do something about this, or today is the day, and you start taking that action, then you feel good about yourself. A little bit empowered. I'm taking a positive action, not just wishing I didn't weigh as much, or wishing I felt better or looked better. I'm actually doing something about it. And even in one day, even one action that you take, getting up and making that first healthy breakfast, for example, gives you that kind of positive, uplifting empowerment, because you're in control now. All of a sudden, you're in control. And it's just kind of one of these perpetual things. And then, of course, you feel results, you see results, you get motivated, and then it continues on. And so the only real way to get motivated is to just jump in with both feet.
Into it. So would you say that it's discipline, really? Discipline happens before motivation. You have to have the discipline to set some guidelines, some parameters for how you're going to do something and then follow through on it. And then you get the results, and the motivation kind of keeps feeding the cycle.
Yeah, I think that sounds really good, Jill. But I'm
but in reality,
I'm a very undisciplined person. So I don't sleep on a schedule. I don't eat on a schedule.
Okay.
I have a very fluid lifestyle. So I wouldn't
Yeah.
say I'm not necessarily a disciplined person.
Yeah.
So for me to go on a diet that requires disciplined actions or meals or hours to eat or anything like that scares me to death.
Okay.
And so but I like the way you said that. And I think it's true, but not necessarily for everyone.
Yeah.
So
Everybody is different. We all have different, some people do really good with structure. Other people's not so much.
Yeah. Some people do better with structure. And so I think that's good, but I think really it boils down to making that personal commitment, making that decision. And there are a lot of things that can fuel that. Sometimes you just have to stop saying, well, tomorrow, or I'll start on Monday, or just do it now. Now is what exists. Now is when it's happening.
Yeah.
And now is the only real time. And so I think just getting committed, whether it means you're sick of feeling the way you feel, or you're sick of looking the way you look, or maybe you're mad or ticked off, for whatever reason, whether you're excited about, let's say, some big thing coming up, like let's say you have a cruise in April, or a big reunion of some sort, or a wedding, or I don't know, something exciting coming up, and you can wrong reason. But whatever the reason, that's what you have to really kind of grab onto. And I find helps me a lot personally, as far as, motivation, is getting in my mind this happiest, healthiest version of myself. I'm lean and strong and happy and confident, and everything I touch turns to gold. And I have this version of myself in my mind, and that really fuels me. I feel discouraged or less than, happy with myself or what have you. That's, I think of her and I'm like, I'm going to, meet her where, on the road, wherever that is, I'm going to meet her. And so I'm just constantly working toward that vision of myself that I know I can be the best version of myself.
Awesome.
And I think that that's really what it's all about, is finding your joy.
Yeah. And feeding that vision, right? Because that's, I think, where people fall off, is they think, well, that's not really possible. They lose the belief that it's possible to.
Well, somehow you have that joy attached to a certain pant size or dress size or a certain number on the scale. And that's okay, as far as, tracking your progress or this or that or what have you. But I got into that pant size. I got into that number on the scale and still didn't find my joy.
Right.
That became part of my journey. Part of my weight loss journey was thinning out and getting the things leaned up in my mind that I had carried with me for a long time. And so I think it's really good to kind of think about that. Like how would I look and feel if I were the absolute best version of me I could be?
I like that.
I think as human beings, we're obligated to be the best version of ourselves. We were given this life. We were given this body. We were given this time on the planet. I think we're obligated to make the absolute most of the things we were given.
I agree 100% with that. So kind of a follow-up question, you were talking about motivation and structure versus not structure. Are you a person who tracks your macros, and do you recommend that people do that? Or how does that help you? Like, because I know there's a lot of different people say, some people say don't, other people say, yeah, you got to be really stringent with that.
I didn't at first because I didn't know how, and, again, keeping it simple, I would just track on paper and, just my goal was stay below 20 net carbs a day, or right at 20 net carbs a day. And so I kept it super simple to start. The first summer that I did low carb, my weight loss completely stalled out, and I couldn't figure out why. Yeah. And so everybody's like, track. I'm like, yeah. I finally did, and I was amazed at what I discovered. And so I'm a big advocate for tracking, macro tracking, for a few reasons, at least two, and I'll tell you why. But what I discovered that year was that I was eating too lean. So
not enough fat.
Right. I wasn't able to track my fat and protein ratios on paper. And if you're not eating at least 70% fat, for me, my weight loss completely stalls out. Also, your energy will stall out. And if you're not careful, you'll be eating more than 25% protein. So because it was summer in Tennessee, it gets really humid and hot and you're like sluggish and, just from the heat alone. And so I was eating very light, like grilled chicken salad, that kind of thing. It was very low fat, really, and too lean. And that's why my weight loss stalled out. And then there's the other concern of if you eat too much protein, and this is not just for low carb diets, but in general, no matter what, if you eat more than 25% of your daily calories in protein, your kidneys could suffer in a lot of ways.
And that was the big concern a lot of people had with the Atkins diet back in the day.
Well, and I would say that's because they did it wrong, because Dr. Atkins actually taught a ketogenic low carb diet. So when people were like, oh, it's a high protein diet, he didn't say that. He always was a big advocate for the healthy fats. So Atkins actually now, the new version of Atkins defines a low carb diet as 100 carbs a day or less.
Which isn't necessarily, that's pretty high.
But they say that's a low carb diet. That's by American standards. But they say if you want to lose weight, you want to do Atkins 20 or Atkins 40, which is a ketogenic diet. Right. So they just have changed it up a little bit, but it's always been low carb, high fat. Dr. Atkins, induction phase has always been ketogenic. It's always been a high fat thing, So anyway, there are a lot of misconceptions about high protein, versus low carb versus keto, blah, blah. Anyway, I forgot what we were talking about.
Well, we were talking about the macros and tracking the macros and how too much protein it's hard on your kidneys. And then,
And so I discovered a lot of things when I started tracking. And so it's become something I enjoy and love doing. And I'll tell you what's so important about tracking. Number one, I track everything before I eat it, make it, or order it.
Okay. So you look at it first.
Absolutely.
I love that.
For two reasons. Number one, I can see how my macros are starting to play out for the day. So I know by dinner time, I know whether or not I need to add a healthy fat or if I'm good there and it's okay to just have grilled chicken and broccoli for dinner. So tracking as you go helps you maintain your daily macros, which is really good for your health, your overall food combining health. And the second thing is it makes you extremely mindful of what you're eating. So because you sit down with your app or whatever and you track it first, you put it in your tracker first, it gives you that moment to backtrack and say,
wait, that's not going to work. Yeah.
I'm not going to eat that actually, or to, change your mind. And so I think it makes for more mindful eating, a more mindful process. So for example, I think it's not just important to do 20 net carbs per day max and 70% fat minimum. It's important for each of those 20 net carbs to be the highest nutritional value possible. And the 70% fat, those healthy fats that actually offer nutritional value. And so it makes, for me, with tracking, I'm very mindful of what I'm eating and not eating. That's not to say that I'm one of these like perfect, everything's all organic and the highest, like I'm the healthiest person on the planet. I'll still eat sausage and eggs from McDonald's because it's low carb and it fits in with my macros and I'm on the road or whatever. What I'm saying though is it makes you mindful of your choices as you're making them. So for people who struggle with mindless eating or mindless snacking, if you start tracking before you choose the snack, weigh it out, measure it, log it, whatever, it gives you that opportunity to back out. It also helps with portion control because I'll tell you, I'm like, I'll eat like pecans and strawberries and, different things on my plate or whatever. And I go ahead and log how much I'm going to eat. And then I measure it out and that's what I eat.
Instead of just grabbing the bag and eating until you're full and then having like, okay.
Yeah, because the feeling of full, it can be misleading.
Absolutely.
Stomach and mind don't communicate at the same space.
Yeah. You don't need as much food as you think you do. Right? Yeah. Okay. Well, very interesting. So what are some of your best tips then? You've kind of touched on some of them. What are your best tips for eating out or eating while you're traveling? Well, that's a hard one for a lot of people.
Yeah. And for me, it's really fun. I think of it like a game. So it's like a challenge. Like I have one road trip I take quite frequently, which is to Okaloosa Island and back. And it's just 8 hours there, 8 hours back and a weekend at the beach, like 3 days
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it's like a fun challenge. Like how many new, interesting, fun, low carb, meals can I find along the way? And I really enjoy it because it mixes things up. I get tired of the same old things that I might make at home anyway or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I get food bored.
You like variety.
I do. And so I'm always looking for fun, creative ways for that, like quick, healthy lunches or what have you. And so I've just, discovered some of the best, like there are local places that will deliver, which is really great if you're working and you don't have time to get out for lunch, because that can be a downfall for a lot of people, lack of preparation. You don't have to prepare, though, in my book, just find the places that deliver. And then if you're tired of low carb fast food, let's say if you have a short lunch break or you're, in a hurry, there's Applebee's Carside to go, and you can drive through and get a full blown meal with grilled salmon and steamed broccoli and, all the kind of good stuff.
Okay.
So my best tip, though, is make it fun. Enjoy the experience. I like to scour the menu. And I'll tell you, one of my favorite places to eat low carb when I'm on the road, on a road trip, is IHOP.
Oh, really? You wouldn't think that. A pancake place.
I know, except I'm not at all tempted to eat the junk, because if I'm on a road trip, I'm going somewhere or, something, and I want to feel and look my best. There's the last thing I want is a stomach full of carb.
Yep.
But IHOP has the freshest strawberries and avocado year round. I don't know how they do it, but they have
that's a great tip.
avocado and strawberries. And you can order a la carte, so I scour the menu and I just kind of look. Like I noticed one day that they had like a turkey sandwich on the lunch menu that had avocado on it. Not an avocado spread, it had avocado on it.
Fresh avocado.
Right. So that day when I ordered, and you can get breakfast all day at IHOP, right? So order fried eggs. Never order anything other than fried eggs when you're ordering out. Because
they have like
eggs or omelets, they have things added to them you don't want. So I ordered fried eggs. I'll also have bacon, a side of strawberries, and a side of avocado. And that's in place of like toast and grits or whatever. And if there's a slight upcharge, to me, that is, that's okay. I'm willing to pay a few bucks extra. It's, my body and my buck, and my health is worth it, especially considering the money I used to spend binge eating.
Yeah, just eating what you want when you want, right?
Yeah, or I would go out to a restaurant and I would have an appetizer and order an entree and order dessert, and so my expenses for eating out are a lot less, even if there are slight upcharges to what I want to order.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
That
I had an amazing meal at Applebee's last night. I met another local low carber here, and we had a great meal. But they have, I just had, grilled salmon. It was plain grilled salmon, and it was steamed broccoli. It came on a bed of spinach, and then I had a Caesar side salad with cucumbers instead of croutons. And then I also ordered the spinach artichoke dip, which I ate with my salmon, which was really nice. I just don't bring any chips, just want the dip only. But it's so easy. And a lot of times, like I said, I'll just scour the menu. And if I see, I was at a beach resort one time, and it was kind of a sketchy menu, but I noticed they had like cottage cheese or something on the menu somewhere. So I'm like, I'll just have a side of cottage cheese instead of potatoes.
Okay. Yeah. Just substitute the cottage cheese for potatoes. Yeah.
You know what? You need to not be afraid to do that, because people who work in food service, I used to, are used to it. They get it all day, every day. And they're used to creating, whatever people order. And you have to remember that they're working for you. And in a very nice way, you simply order what you want. Again, it's your body and your buck, and order what you want. Don't think twice about it.
No, I don't think there's a problem with that at all. And I think it's brilliant. Your tips are fascinating. I'm just sitting here thinking, wow, that's really easy, because it doesn't seem that easy until you do it, I think. So good advice.
It's really good. Like even like Domino's will deliver, and they now have salads, which are not that great. They're not, like the best salad ever, but it is a salad,
But if you need a delivery, it's,
that plus I order their wings with no sauce, cook extra crisp. And so then I have just plain chicken wings. It's not breaded, no sauce, no nothing. And, a salad. In a pinch, if you need lunch delivered, there's that, there's lots of different places, that you can. And so it's easy enough.
Awesome. Good advice. Love it. Okay. So what's like one last thing that you'd like to leave with our audience? What advice or motivation or inspiration, let's call it, would you give our audience for making the low carb ketogenic lifestyle a lifestyle rather than just a diet?
You know, that's the whole key, is making it a lifestyle, is deciding, I don't want to go on a diet because dieting is not fun.
Yeah. No.
Dieting is not fun. It's also temporary. Diets are temporary. And becoming the happiest, healthiest version of myself in progress has been, for me, was a matter of, realizing that, going off plan and on plan and starting over and, all these, allowing myself, to get sidetracked or whatever was really a self-sabotage. And it was bad for my body. It was also bad for my mindset. And people ask me all the time, do you do carb cycling? I'm like, I used to. Yes, that's how I stayed fat for so long. But for me, it would be a matter of going off the rails on a total binge. And so I had to really dig deep on, why do I binge? Why do I overeat? Why do I? And it's a self-sabotage. It's actually where you call it a treat. I'm treating myself. I deserve this. It's actually punishment. And realizing it for what it is and unraveling the lies you tell yourself that keep you from seeing success, that's a really big part of the whole journey. But I'll tell you, I host a 90-day low-carb challenge, and a lot of people, really struggle with that, doing the entire 90 days. But the reason that I do that is because I personally believe it takes 90 days of being consistent to, number one, actually see the health benefits and the results, like a lot of results. You're going to see results in the first week or two. But I mean, in 90 days, you have changed habits. You have changed your mindset. You have changed a lot of things, health-wise can change in 90 short days. And people get rid of chronic migraines, infertility problems, like inflammation, joint pain, all kinds of things. And a lot of that can happen sooner, but what doesn't happen sooner is breaking the cycle of breaking the cycle.
Yes.
So for people who struggle with staying consistent, or people who struggle with staying on track or staying motivated, just, powering through just 90 days, just 3 short months of your entire life, just committing to that to see what happens. To me, it was amazing when I stopped going off plan once a month, or, every few weeks, just for one meal or just for one day, and then I'll get right back on track or whatever. When I stopped doing that and I did keto for 90 full days, I have not craved any of my usual stuff ever again.
You don't even want the junk anymore, right?
It completely changed. All that stuff turns me off now. And it has allowed me to stay completely consistent. Now, I maybe twice a year, I'll eat low carb instead of ketogenic. It's still like at 100 carbs a day. And that's maybe only once or twice a year. And it's still just paleo. It's still really none of my old usual habits or anything like that. And I'll tell you what it is sushi. And most of the time I eat keto sushi, rolled in cucumber, or, without rice. I'll have them replace. When I go out for sushi now, I'll order the spicy salmon or the spicy tuna roll, which is my favorite, and just say, can I have cream cheese instead of rice?
Okay, cool. Yeah, that makes it high fat. That's awesome.
And it's fabulous. However, once or twice a year, especially if I'm already out of ketosis, like from a medication or from an antibiotic or something has thrown me off track anyway, then I'll go ahead and have a sushi night. But still keeping it, whereas I used to could eat 4 or 5 rolls and go into the whole carb coma and really overdo it. Now it's just 1 or 2 rolls or 1 or 2 little things, and it's all still paleo and sugar-free, really.
So you don't just throw it all out the window because there is a setback. Okay.
Never. So now like I said, I think the key to staying on track is to, really fall in love with the version of yourself you want to be, that lean, happy, strong, confident,
energetic, healthy.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I love it. That's beautiful. Now, you mentioned your 90-day keto challenge, and so you've invited our audience to participate in that. Can you tell them a little bit more about that? And we'll make sure we put the link here on the page so that they know they can go and get registered for that.
It is an amazing group. We've been running for over 6 years. There's over 128,000 members, and we are all sharing our meals. We're all sharing our struggles. There's tons of Q&A. It's so great for encouragement, motivation, inspiration, recipes, meal ideas. When you take that many people from around the world that are eating ketogenic and challenging themselves, it's exciting and motivating. It's a way to, keep on track by seeing everyone's before and after pictures, Motivation Monday and Facelift Friday, and they share all those all the time. But it's a huge group. It's a really fun community. We have it very strongly moderated, to keep the negativity and fussing and things like that out. And so, yes, I would love for you guys to join us. It is 90daylowcarbchallenge.com. And when you go to that page to sign up by email, you're also going to get my food diaries free by email. So I publish my MyFitnessPal logs and every bite I eat, and you'll get that by email for free.
Amazing.
So it's kind of like a meal plan, except I don't have a meal plan. And so
it helps people get the ideas from you so that they can take it and do it themselves.
Yes. Plus you get to see how I log it. So when I go out to eat and then how do I log that meal? Because you're going to get to see my MyFitnessPal logs as well. And so you can sign up by email at travelinglowcarb.com, which is my blog. Or you can sign up at the 90daylowcarbchallenge.com. You're not committed to completing the challenge. Or to, but
you should be.
Yes, I would love for you to. But I'm just saying your commitment is your choice. Yeah. But you can still join the group. You can still enjoy, the environment and the community and the recipes and the motivation and inspiration. And like I said, get my meal diaries for free, because I think those are really helpful. That's what a lot of people say. Just seeing the different ideas, what do you eat when, you're in a rush or you're walking out the door or you're on a road trip or you're like, last night I had dinner with a friend and so there's all kinds of different, variations to life and food and what you're eating and
awesome. Yeah. And we started out talking about the weight loss motivation or whatever it is that you're looking for motivation for. And we talked about that importance of your vision of yourself that you're trying to attain. And I think having a community that shares that common vision and that common goal is powerful. So if you're looking for motivation, that's where you're going to get it right now. So go to her 90-day challenge and jump in and encourage everybody to do that. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Lynn. This has been a fascinating conversation. I have so many ideas for myself, and I hope our audience does as well.
Thank you, Jill, and thanks everybody for listening in. I look forward to seeing you in the 90-day low carb challenge group and or at my blog at travelinglowcarb.com. Leave a comment. Tell me about your journey. And thanks for having me on, Jill, in this exciting summit. I can't wait to hear the rest of it.
Yeah, it's been amazing so far. So thank you so much, Lynn. Appreciate your time and your insight. Have a great day, everyone.